and welcome to episode 2 of How to Feed Yourself. So this episode is going to be all about shopping smart. So we're going to talk a little bit about meal planning and then actually get to the grocery shopping portion of it. So meal planning is a great tool just for taking some stress out of what do I cook this week, and then especially if you're trying to stick to a budget, it really helps you kind of keep an eye on what you're doing. So definitely do it in advance. I personally do mine Tuesday, Wednesday. I start thinking about the next week's food because I usually grocery shop in the mornings on the weekend. So some of it depends on when you can shop, and just try to plan in enough time so you can think about your recipes and get your grocery list together. I also really like to consult sale ads, even if it's for stores I may not shop at. Some of it helps you kind of know what's on sale, and sales will definitely help you stay in budget. And then usually whatever produce is on sale is what's the most in season. It's the freshest, it's what they have the most of. That's why it's on sale. So that's going to help you get a variety of foods in your diet, as well as keep your budget down and help you eat seasonally. So when you're making your meals, think about what sounds good. What do I want to eat? You can do theme nights. I know a lot of people who do Taco Tuesdays, or my family, we always have pizza Friday nights, and we've been doing that for so long it feels weird when I don't eat pizza on Friday night. So that's an option. Or you could have soup Saturdays. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. Doesn't even have to alliterate. I oftentimes try to kind of vary my carbs, because I know that if I eat rice all week, I'm probably going to get bored of rice. So I usually try to do one with pasta, one with potatoes, one with rice, etc. That way to get a little more variety in my carbs and keep me from getting bored of eating the same thing all week. Also, a good thing is to think about what time you're going to have available. So you don't want to have a bunch of really, really intensive recipes with a lot of steps and a lot of chopping and stuff when you know you're going to be having a busy week at work. And granted, stuff does just pop up unexpectedly, but if you kind of keep an eye on what your schedule is going to be, it's going to be easier to plan that. I usually do weekdays, I'll do really easy, something that can all cook on a sheet pan, or something that goes in the slow cooker or instant pot, and then save the more adventurous recipes that are going to require a little more attention and work for the weekend. The good news is there's lots of ways to find recipes. I love looking at Pinterest, which sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but I've had a good bit of luck. There's also so many cookbooks. There are cookbooks about any kind of cooking you could ever want to do. There's the Food Network has a website with recipes. There's allrecipes.com, Taste of Home. I mean, there's so many different options. Another thing to keep in mind is, what do you already have on hand? So if one week I use half of a 3-pack of bell peppers, well, not half. If I use 2 out of the 3 bell peppers from a pack one week, the next week I kind of keep in mind, hey, I've got this 1 bell pepper. I don't want it to go bad because I hate putting food to waste, so I need to think about what I can incorporate that in. Same with spinach. I always seem to have half a bag of spinach at the end of a recipe, and then I just try to keep in mind, is there something I can mold this down in? Maybe I'll have side salads with the meal this week. And then once you've picked out your recipes, make sure you read them through really carefully. See if you like all of the ingredients, if you follow the directions easily, if it's well written. A lot of times they write them very confusing, and I'll be like, I just can't do this. I don't have time to chop 15 different things. Sometimes if maybe you don't like this or that ingredient, there's easy swaps you can do that won't alter the recipe too much. And sometimes you can also just Google such and such recipe without this. Chicken soup recipe without noodles. Chicken and rice. There we go. And occasionally you can just leave an ingredient out. If you don't like mushrooms, then most recipes that include mushrooms, you can leave them out unless it's chicken marsala, and that's kind of an important ingredient. So once you've picked your recipes, also keep an eye on like how many servings each recipe makes and kind of plan that as well. I like to do some that have at least 4 servings. Most have at least 4, which cooking just for myself, that means I've got like dinner that night and 3 days of leftovers, which is great. It means I have to cook less often. But if you have like more people in your family, or if you're, cooking for yourself like I am, just keep that in mind so you don't plan to cook too much and then have food sitting around and then, you have to throw it out after a while. So once you have your recipes picked and you've kind of looked it over, now it's time to make the grocery list. So always use a list. Don't go into the grocery store without some sort of list. And then when you have a list, stick to the list. That's going to help you stay a little bit better on budget. When you make your list, make sure you're checking your staples like flour, sugar, olive oil, that kind of thing, as well as any household items like cleaning supplies, trash bags, toilet paper. Nobody wants to run out of these basic things, but it's really easy to overlook sometimes. I personally shop at Aldi. They're really inexpensive. I mean, there's one of everything, so there's not a lot of options, and a lot of times like it's either there or it's not. So I do kind of have that trade-off. But when I shop at a regular store, 1, I usually end up impulse buying a lot more, and 2, then I have to worry about coupons, which are a great way to save money if you have the time and energy to plan out like that. But I decided that I did not feel like dealing with coupons very much anymore, so I saved that for like once a month, once every other month. I'll do a big Walmart run on stuff where maybe I'm picky on the brand or they just don't carry it at Aldi. And I'll kind of plan my meals around that as well. So again, stick to your list. Don't forget about your snacks. So when you're planning your meals, plan about snacks. That's usually what I forget. I also like to, on my grocery list, have what I'm planning to eat that week listed. That way if maybe I was looking over the recipe and forgot something that I was like, oh, this would be good with this. Like, I'm having tortilla soup. Maybe I should get some tortilla chips to have with the soup as a little bit of a side. I'll add that. I'll make sure it's written on the list. That way I don't forget it, because if it's not on the list, I usually forget it because I'm trying to get in and out of the store right now. So the way I order my list, I actually keep mine on my phone because for me that's easier than trying to find a piece of paper. I usually lose the piece of paper and then it's deadly. But I have mine on my phone. So you can see at the top I have my meal ideas, and then I separate my list into produce, protein, pantry, and other. So the bulk of my list is usually in produce. So you can see I've got fruit, which is usually just whatever fruit I want to eat that week, because I always try to eat fruit with breakfast and with lunch. And I just pick that at random most of the time. A lot of apples, and then I try to vary it. And then all of the produce I think I will need for my recipes and my snacks, because this next week's snacks is veggies, pretzel thins, and hummus. And some of that is because I've had a bag of pretzel thins for about a month now, and I keep forgetting they're in the cabinets. Go figure. Then protein is like my hummus, my meats, my eggs, and I usually include dairy like cheese in there, just because for me that's easier. Usually they're fairly close to each other. And then I have my pantry items, which usually is like my shortest list, because I don't get a whole lot of pre-made stuff. Usually some sort of salsa. Chips and salsa are my favorite snack. And staples like broth or rice or pasta are going to go on there. And then other is kind of a catch-all. Usually that's where I put my household items. This week there's frozen pizza on it because I know I have class next Thursday and I'm going to be home alone. So I need a really quick and easy dinner, so it's going to be freezer pizza and salad, because I'm going to have approximately 20 minutes to get my stuff together after work and get down to class. So that is kind of how I have my list. take it into the store with me, go down the list. Before I go to checkout, I try to look it over and make sure I haven't forgotten anything, which I just remembered something I have to put on my list. One second. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to do that before I forgot. So yeah, that is a good way to help you shop a little bit smarter, have a plan, have a list, stick to your list, and then the fun part starts, cooking. So next episode, we will get down to the actual cooking. I'm a little excited. We're going to start with bread. Bread is very easy to make and very fun to make, so I look forward to seeing you all then. Bye!